All right.
Hi, I'm so excited today to talk to Katelyn Sonnier. I'm going to introduce you guys to her and just a little bit. She's an Ayurvedic. What's your actual title?
Ayurvedic wellness consultant.
Okay. Locally, if
Yeah.
any of you are here locally, the whole alternative natural wellness thing is not, it's something that we're kind of new to here. Not everybody has a whole lot of information or access to it. So I figured we would do this interview style just so you can get to know Katelyn, what she is, what she does, and then towards the end, talk about a workshop that she has coming up. So go ahead, Katelyn, introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. So I'm Katelyn Sonnier, and I'm originally from Eunice, Louisiana. So it's so cool to kind of be connecting with the people back in that area. I lived in Kentucky for 10 years, and now I'm back in the area. I am an Ayurvedic wellness consultant, a nutritional coach, and a yoga instructor. And I've kind of put all those together and created my own brand and practice, Ayurvedic wellness. And Ayurveda is a really big term, but it really translates to the wisdom of life. And it teaches you how to live in rhythm with a lifestyle that's unique to you. So basically, Ayurveda says that we're all unique individuals. We all have the 5 elements within us, and they're all organized in different ways. So there's different foods that are going to be compatible with our organization of the elements, and different herbs that would be compatible. So I teach my clients how to use food to heal their bodies and to bring their bodies into balance, as well as herbs, which is how I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I know my story with getting into herbal medicine, the Western side, because I do, just for clarification, I have Western herbalism versus the Ayurvedic, is my son was really sick and had a bad reaction to some medication. I had like this really helpless feeling. So I started researching. How did you get into the Ayurvedic stuff?
I was dealing with celiac disease and irritable bowel syndrome and leaky gut, intestinal permeability. So basically all of my digestive enzymes in my stomach were leaking out. All of the toxins and the bacteria from the foods was leaking out into my system. So I had acne, skin rashes. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, a slew of other things that had constant sinus infections. So when I did my yoga teacher training, we had an Ayurveda consultant that was part of our training, and I started working with her. And within like 6 months, things started to just clear up. Like there were certain things that I couldn't eat, shouldn't eat. There are certain herbs that she put me on, and like 6 months, I was so much better. So I was like, I really need to figure out how to do this, how to learn more about this so I can help other people.
Now with the nutrition, do you use your herbs mainly within the food, or do they take the herbs separately as teas and supplements? Like how does that play into things?
All of them. You use you use the herbs in your food. And if you're dealing with like a really big imbalance, like a lot of inflammation or a lot of gas and bloating that you're trying to bring balance back into, you can use the herbs in teas, in tinctures, and taking them in little capsules. But Ayurveda really teaches about, they call them the tastes. So like in culinary school, you have sweet, sour, salty, and I think it's umami. I think that's the other one. And in Ayurveda, it's sweet, sour, salty, bitter, astringent, and pungent. So we teach you how to make meals that have all of those tastes in your dishes, so you can have just a balanced meal. And you don't have to worry about taking all of your herbs just to maintain your balance.
Oh, that's interesting. And I bet with the inflammation and leaky gut, the nutrition is so important to heal it. I know that just from my own personal experience too. So
right.
Yeah. Medicinally in there at the same time. That's convenient, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the way Ayurveda works is like the first thing it addresses is digestion. Because if you don't have a strong digestion, then you're not digesting your food, and undigested food sits in your stomach and creates imbalance and toxic buildup. So the first thing that it's going to address is digestion, because some people have a digestive system that's way too fast, so their body's not assimilating and absorbing the nutrients. Other people have a very slow digestive system, and some of them have like a mix. Like it varies from, sometimes it's really, really fast, sometimes it's really, really slow. Would I eat certain things? It comes right out of me right away. When I eat certain things, it makes me feel really full and heavy for a while. So that's one of the first things that we'll address is your digestion.
Now out here, I know Louisiana's got such a big food culture.
Mhm.
I mean, how difficult or strict would it be? Let me say I'm going to go to you because I get headaches, right?
Yeah.
I'm making, I get headaches. I'm going to go see you, whatever. Like, how strict is it? Am I like going to be expected to eat 8 pounds of kale and then drink 4 cups of tea a day? Or like, how does it, how are you
Yeah.
like finding, I guess, incorporating it with Louisiana as such a food heavy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's really applicable to anybody's lifestyle. So basically I still make gumbo, right? I
Okay.
just might add a few different things. Like I'll put rosemary in my gumbo.
Okay.
Rosemary is a really good herb. It's really good for your digestion and all that stuff. So I still use some of the same dishes. I just add a little bit of extra seasoning or spices to it to bring it where I need it to go.
Okay, well, that's cool because I could question that a lot even coming into here when people want to talk about stuff. I know when I first started my studying with herbalism, one of the books I had was almost like an encyclopedia, I guess. So you would
Yeah.
have like a condition or an ailment or whatever, and then it would list out, okay, Western herbalism, Ayurveda, and it would do Chinese, traditional Chinese medicine. I find that there's a lot of overlap though between the herbs that Ayurvedic practitioners use and the ones that I find very successful here. So
Mhm.
I always just thought that was kind of cool. Ashwagandha is like one of my favorite ones that
Oh,
I use
gosh.
for a lot of people in terms of stress relief and stuff like that. So
Yeah. And that's really what I value so much about Ayurveda is a lot of the people that I work with, they talk about their past in Chinese medicine and working with herbalists and all these things. And Ayurveda, it's so old and it's so ancient. It's like it's one of the first health healing sciences. Like it's 5,000 years old. So a lot of the things that are practiced today in alternative medicine stem from Ayurveda.
yeah, I know
So
that
it's
about like the dry brushing and the tongue scrapers and things like that are very much an older Indian origin, as I guess, as opposed to if you want to, I don't know like the proper terminology for it, so I'm not meaning to offend anybody.
yeah.
Well, I know one of the things I'm really excited about is on April 30th, we're doing a live workshop, right, in Vidrine at Kim's shop. I got the
Yep.
date right. Okay, good. Now, if someone's going to go and sign up for the workshop, what can they expect from you?
So at the workshop, we're going to start off with some an introduction to what Ayurveda is. So you're kind of understanding the terms and you're not lost in the dark. Ayurveda is also the sister science to yoga because we know that movement is so good for our bodies as well. So we'll do a movement practice. Then we'll also do a breath practice because breath is also important because 95% of Americans do not breathe correctly. Like we hold our breath all day long. So we'll do an introduction to Ayurveda, a movement practice, a breath practice. You'll get an opportunity to figure out what your specific mind body type is.
Oh,
so you can start asking questions about what foods are good for you, what foods are not good for you. And then when foods aren't good for you, it doesn't mean you have to avoid them. Like you still want them in your diet to bring some balance. You just want to use it within measurement. And I'm also going to be making an Ayurvedic dish called khichdi.
Okay, that's me.
Yeah, it's made with rice and beans and some vegetables and some yummy spices. And then and you're going to be there with some cool tools and herbs and stuff.
Yeah, we worked together. I've got like a whole little packet set up with the kind of like the basics that we've gone through. 2 different kinds of teas, a body brush, a tongue scraper. I cannot pronounce that honey based like
Chaiwan prash.
there you go.
Yeah, I'll bring a jar so we can try that too. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to be there helping you out on that front. And well, let's say I met you down the street. Like, what's one major takeaway that someone go into the workshop can walk out and say, "Oh my God, I didn't know X about myself."
But you're going to learn a lot about yourself, but you're going to learn some things that you can take away that day, like why tongue scrape, why dry brush, why is it that I am this mind body type? Like what tells me, what things do I look for in myself, in my children, in my spouse that will tell me they are that type?
Okay, that's interesting. I
Mhm.
get oftentimes I run into people and they have this idea that any kind of alternative healing and wellness situation is very complicated and very intrusive. And so they're almost like they're curious, but I get a lot of people who are like, I don't even know what questions to ask because I don't know what I don't know. I just want to know
Right.
something. And so
Right.
I spend a lot of time trying to, I guess, explain that it's actually very, very simple, and it's only as complicated as like as you can make it in your brain. And I think in a lot of ways, Ayurveda, at least initially when I first started reading about it, came across as kind of intimidating too.
Yeah. And it is because it uses these big giant words, right? So you basically think about Ayurveda will help you identify your mind and body type. So a lot of us we can either process things really, really fast. We process things really, really slow. We either have a really strong memory and not so strong memory. Our body types, like we can either gain weight really quickly, not gain weight at all, or gain weight moderately. Some people can gain muscle really fast. Some people have to work out really hard. Some people don't gain muscle at all. So learning about your body type as well as your mental type, your mind type. So it's almost like a personality type meets your body type.
Okay, so
And
it's
doing
not like
specific-
something that's going to completely overtake my life, and like it's not 27 different steps that I've got to keep a list on the fridge to check off and all of those different things.
No. Like, I mean, Good Friday, I eat boiled crawfish,
Okay.
you know, but I know, like, of course, for some people, like boiled crawfish might hurt their stomach or whatever, or they get these side effects after they eat boiled crawfish, but I know what to do so that doesn't affect me and that doesn't bother me. Right.
Okay, so it actually gives you more freedom rather than be restrictive. It frees you up to
Correct.
enjoy things maybe that you couldn't have.
Right. It gives you tools. It's just like more tools in your tool belt for your own health and well-being. So you don't have to go to the doctor and be like, hey doc, I got heartburn all the time. What do I do? It's like, oh, I have heartburn. Let me drink peppermint tea or do, these simple things that it's like, I've got heartburn. I've got the tools to help myself. I don't need to go to the store and buy something over the counter or go to the doctor to tell me what to do. I know what to do.
And also with Ayurveda, it's not age restrictive, right? So this is something that because you and I have talked before about, because my specialty tends to be dealing with kids with ADHD. So we've talked about kids using it from them. And so I just kind of talk about that. It's simple enough that a kid can kind of do it and benefit from it, right?
Absolutely. And if you as a parent are more familiar with what an imbalance in your child can look like, then you can help them out. So for example, when your kid gets a cold, sometimes the cold can show up as a dry, raspy cough. They never get any mucus congestion or anything, just a dry, sore, raspy cough in the throat. Yeah. Or you can have that kid that has so much phlegm coming from its nose all the time and runny. Or you have the kid whose nose gets really, really red and crusty. And they talk about like a burn in their chest and their throat. Mm-hmm. So depending on their mind body type, their imbalance and their cold, their dis-ease is going to show up in different ways. So once you learn about the mind body type, which is called dosha, but to keep it a little more applicable, I'm going to call it mind body type. But then you can start looking at your children and your spouse and your brothers and sisters in that lens to kind of see where their imbalances may be and what you can do.
Do you find that the mind body types, do they change as people age, or is it kind of what you're born with is what you got and you go from there?
Both. Yeah. Like what you're born with is what you got, but it's definitely going to change. It changes with the seasons and it changes with the lifespan. And it changes with the seasons because if you think about like what goes on outside of you is also going on inside of you, because we're all connected and we're all made of the same 5 elements. So for example, in springtime, we usually get seasonal allergies because it's really, really wet. It's really, really moist. And we already have so much wet and moisture inside of us because we're just coming out of winter. So yes, it will change, but having the tools and the awareness of what's going on, like I have a really runny nose. I have a lot of mucus in my chest. You're having an imbalance in one of those doshas, so you know what you need to do to fix it, correct it, and help it out.
Okay, I know, like me personally, I'm very, I want to say sensitive, but kind of almost mood oriented towards seeing sunlight. If we, on those days in the winter when the sun sets so early, or like when we have all these cloudy, rainy days for 4 or 5 days at a time, I find that I become more sluggish. Or even like this morning, right? It was gray and cloudy. So my energy level this morning is a lot less than it is this afternoon. And so it's interesting how the environment can play into all of that.
Right. Yeah. And then you're in tune, like, you know what your body needs. Like, I'm feeling this way because it's gray and yucky. Right. Because there's some people who feel yucky, but don't understand and don't realize, like, oh, it's because the sun's not out.
Yeah, and it's true. And then, and recognizing that though within myself, then I can make sure that I'm not overthinking it and saying, okay, well, am I anxious? Am I depressed? It's like, no, it just kind of blah. So I'm feeling blah, and it'll get better when the sun comes out. So.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of that awareness, I'm sure, comes into play with what your practice as well, with what you do, like learning how your body reacts to specific foods or herbs or external stimulation. A lot of that just takes an awareness that people are always so busy, don't always pay attention to.
Yeah. And that's what I love so much about Ayurveda, because a big question I get is like, when am I going to see results? And I'm like, well, you're going to see them as soon as you feel them, because it's definitely something that you feel first. You know, like you either start feeling more energy, or you start feeling like you have more vitality. You feel like you can take on more tasks. Or if something's out of balance, then you feel sluggish, you feel lethargic, you feel run down, you feel burned out. But it's definitely a feeling science.
Yeah, I have quite a few of my clients that come in and they're just starting with herbal medicine. I always kind of tell them, it's like, look, you're probably going to notice more when you stop taking it than when you do take it, because it's a very subtle, soft kind of path to wellness. It's not like a chemical drug that's going to hit you over the head and suddenly, and so it's like, well, when you run out or you don't take it, or you skip a couple of days, I say, you'll notice it then more than you're going to just wake up tomorrow morning and say, oh yeah, I feel great. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's definitely a very subtle thing. Like Ayurveda really talks about paying attention to the subtleties, because like, that you're going to get sick and something is off before it even hits you, because it's in your subtle awareness, what Ayurveda and yoga call your energy body. Like, you are already aware that something is coming, like you're about to get sick before it even happens. Like, I remember right before I got COVID, I was instructing a yoga class and I could not get the rhythm of my breath. And I was like, something is off. Something is not right. Like, I really think I'm sick. And I didn't want to like put it out there so the sickness would come, but I'm like, this is real. Like, something's going on. And then the next day I wake up with like 105 fever. I was like, oh man, all right, I am sick.
It's funny. I noticed that too. Like, my son last week, was really low energy at the beginning of the week. And like, he had a swim meet on Wednesday, which he did really well, but like, I could tell he was just kind of down, and then woke up Thursday morning with a sore throat and a fever. Like what you're saying is like, his energy started kind of going down before the other actual illness showed up. So.
Right. And isn't that interesting? Like, as parents, you'll notice your child get sick. Like, you can watch them kind of deteriorate and kind of go down, but you may not realize that about yourself.
Oh,
we have
absolutely.
such high expectations of ourselves. Like, we got to keep going. Like, I'm going to fight this off, but you notice it in your child.
It's true as an adult. And then especially as a parent, it's like, oh, whatever I'm feeling, that doesn't matter, because, I've got so much to do. But you can, like you said, notice we always put ourselves on the back burner and say, oh, I'll just tough it out.
Yeah.
Or blame it on stress. Everything gets blamed on stress.
Like, there's too much to do. Yeah. But hopefully Ayurveda can give some tools and some guidance, so you can manage your busy life a little better.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Is there going to be like handouts or something, like we can take notes while we're there? Or?
Yes. I'm gonna bring handouts. Yeah, so you can take home some notes and some different things to refer to as you start implementing it into your life. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I don't have any other questions. Is there something like you just want to say real quick, or we can just talk about the dates and times of the work, like whatever you need to do? I'm going to let you.
Yeah. So the workshop's going to be Saturday, April 30th. It's at Kim's place, Kim's Total Image. And it's going to start at 11 and it's going to end at 2. So if you have a yoga mat, you can bring a yoga mat, a blanket to sit on, wear comfortable clothes, because we'll probably be on the floor most of the time, water bottle, and an open mind.
Okay, well, great. And social media, they can find you where, when, how, website? How would people contact you if they're interested?
You can find me on Facebook. I'm Katelyn Sonnier on Facebook, or on Instagram, I'm eat.love.art. Ayurveda, and that's Ayurveda. And on my Instagram and my Facebook, I have a link to my website, and on the website you can book your spot for the workshop there.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. They book it on the workshop, or do they need to message you directly?
Yeah, they can message me directly or book it on the website,
Okay.
which is linked
great.
to those social medias. Yeah.
And it's only $79, right? For like this full blown.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
only $71. Yeah, and come hungry because you get to eat.
Yeah, and you get lunch too. So you get to learn all
Yeah.
this stuff and you get lunch.
Yeah.
Okay, well, really cool. Well, is there anything else you want to add? We can just go ahead and end the recording for a while.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for letting me interview you, and I'm really looking forward to being there.
Yay. Thanks, Kayla.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.